Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, everybody. How are we feeling? Hope we're feeling good today. Thank you, Chanoy, for becoming a member. I appreciate you.
But now you have been promoted. You are now one of my elite employees.
And thank you so much, Steve. So what it is, good peeps, thank you so much for kicking off the contributions. So we're going to open this up. We're going to go ahead and open this up because I found an interesting video. And it's nothing groundbreaking that you're going to hear in terms of the video that I'm about to play. It's just that it's the doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on the narratives that create these vicious negative cycles. That's what we're going to talk about today. Although I low-key want to talk about and like laugh about K-Dot, but we ain't going to do that. That'll be membership. That's going to be a membership video. But anyway. I did see that today, Miss Simone, and so I'll reply to you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. So I'm not going to waste too much time. I'm going to let you hear this.
Somebody got on my post and was basically like, I'm so glad we live in a generation of women who will get divorces and not stick with the kind of men that treat them bad. Whereas in the 50s and 60s, these women stayed with these men for a lifetime, knowing how unhappy and unfaithful the men were. But me personally, I pray for a generation of women that will walk away from a man at the first red flag, that will walk away when you know that it's not compatible, long before you get pregnant by him, long before you have to go to the altar or go through a divorce or have to go to a therapist because of all of the trauma that was caused to you in your life. I pray for a generation of women who are so comfortable with who they are, who know how valuable and powerful they are outside of marriage, so much so that they're actually okay with being alone, even if it means that they never marry or they never bear children, because they understand that the value of a woman is not contingent on if she's been married or if she's bore children. I pray for a generation of women who will not stay with people just because your thought process is, oh, if I never marry, that means something was wrong with me. Because I feel like a lot of women, they do marry, even if they know it's not right, simply because all these men and podcasts and generations to come have taught us that if you are not a wife, then what good are you? So I pray that you love yourself so much that once you know that this is not going to honor you, you walk away before it brings trauma to you. Somebody got on my post and
so, like I said, it wasn't anything so groundbreaking that we haven't heard it before. The issue here is I was with her when she said walk away from the red flag. I was with her there. I was with her when she said that. When she said walk away from the first red flag, walk away before you get pregnant by a man that you don't want or whatever. Okay, this isn't a good relationship. This is not a good circumstance, a good situation. Don't get pregnant. Don't bring children in. Don't stay around and then blame the guy because the relationship didn't go right, yet you knew it wasn't going to go right. You knew it was silly. You knew that there were a lot of issues here and you kept pushing through the issues. And when the issues became issues and you couldn't ignore it anymore, and now you gotta leave, and now this is everybody else's fault. I get that part. I actually agree with that part. I tell my lionesses about that part. This is where when I say women waste their own time and women hurt themselves, this is what I be talking about. Women who are in situations that they know is not good. They're in situations that are with men that are obviously red flags, and you stay anyway. And then when things don't go right the way you knew that they would not, now all of a sudden he's a liar and he's a scam artist and he did this and he did that, without taking any accountability for the fact that you knew that soon after you start dealing with this guy. You knew that, during the course of the relationship before you got pregnant, you've been with this dude for X amount of time. You knew he wasn't nobody. You knew he wasn't nothing. You knew he was going nowhere fast. And then you get pregnant by this dude that's going nowhere fast. And then after that, now we looking at him with a different eye. Like, man, you really are a bum. Well, you knew that already. So, and there's no reason to be upset now. You're upset with yourself for making these types of decisions. So I was with her up until that part. Now, where they be getting that women were so miserable in the 50s and 60s, this is all nothing but, let me come back to you. That narrative about women of yesteryear being able to maintain marriage, and that the only reason that these women were able to do that was because they lowered themselves. They diminished themselves. That they had no real value or worth, did not understand their value or worth, and therefore they remained in relationships, marriages with men, only because they did not know or even have worth, self-worth, or any value at all. And that the only value that they could find was to be in a relationship with a man that didn't respect them, to be in relationship with a man that didn't like them, to be in relationship with a man that didn't love them, to be a relationship with a man that treated them badly. This is where the slander of the lioness come from. And they have to say that, because how else is a hyena going to explain how women of yesteryear were able to do what they cannot? How are they going to explain how women since the beginning of time have been able to get and keep men of all caliber. And the modern women of today are unable to do that. So you've got to slander the lioness. And lioness slander continues to this day because they call us pygmies. And you know the names, all the names and the derogatory things. So it has to be said that women, whether it's yesteryear and especially today, that women who are able to maintain relationships, that there's actually something wrong with them. This is where we are. That it is now seen that women who are capable of entering into a committed relationship and being able to maintain a healthy relationship, a content relationship with their husbands for extended amounts of time, extended years, that there's actually something wrong with her. There's something wrong with her. Mentally, there's something wrong with her. Emotionally, there's something wrong with her. She doesn't have any value. She doesn't see any value in herself. She has low self-esteem, a low sense of self-worth. And the only way that she's able to maintain a relationship of any type with any man is that she actually has to feel low about herself. She must diminish herself. She must become less than a woman in order to do this. That's the real problem with these types of rhetorics, the holding on to these narratives. That's the real issue. It occurs to me that the reiteration of these narratives is just yet another way that you remain in the lost value system, or it's almost like a lost value system failsafe. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, okay, I talk about and have for years talked about the 10 life values, right? Okay, you can see them here. And its opposite, which is the lost value system. Okay, that's its opposite. And when something has a failsafe, that a failsafe is meant to protect it. Failsafes, things that have failsafes, those failsafes are there to protect it. Okay. So, like, let's say you had a nuclear plant. There are fail-safes created in order to either prevent a nuclear meltdown of the reactor, or in case of meltdown of the reactor, to mitigate the harm that comes from it. Okay. So when we say things have a fail-safe, it's meant to protect that thing in some measure. So one of the lost value systems fail-safes is the recurrence of certain narratives. And this is why it's important to make people believe things, because you will always repeat what you believe. Even if it doesn't have any supported fact, This is why belief is such a powerful thing. Okay? Belief is powerful. Faith, belief in something is very powerful for the human being, because if we believe something, it's very difficult to pull us away from a belief, even with other factors or other things that may disprove it. Okay? So if you get the women to believe, not know, knowledge is something different, but to get a woman to believe, or you get groups of women to believe that wifehood is no longer valuable to them, no longer beneficial to them, to believe that being in the position of a wife, the position of a mother, being in healthy, long, committed relationships is somehow a diminishment of her. If you get her to believe that her worth as a human being is automatically detrimentally tied to her function as a woman, then you successfully get her to a place where she no longer functions as a woman in an effort to preserve her human self-worth. Did you understand what I just said? If you get women to believe that her feminine function as a wife, as a mother, that these things are not valuable. And in point of fact, not only are they not valuable, they're not beneficial, and they are a detriment to her. That's all you got to tell a woman, is something don't benefit her. And something is actually, not only do it not benefit her, that it actually harms her in some way. All you got to do is tell women that, and we will make a complete U-turn and go the other way away from it. If she believes that her God-given position is detrimental and harmful to her, and that it in and of itself is detrimental to her own self-worth as a human being, if you tell her that being a woman devalues her as being a human, she'll stop trying to be a woman. It works completely against her self-interest and actually her self-preservation. Anything that can get you to work against your own self-preservation, you know it's evil. You know it's lost. And the lost value system, both as a whole with Black people in general, have gotten us to work against our own self-interest. Right? So as a whole, as a culture, as a group, Black people in America operate under the lost value system, and it helps us to maintain a destructive cycle. We will continue destructive cycles. Yes? We will continue destructive cycles. It'll be difficult to break it because as a group, we believe certain things about ourselves that work against us and our betterment as a group. Okay. It's easy to see ourselves in a negative light and thus behave. We don't see ourselves as being able to be unified. So therefore, we don't unify under anything. We have no code of ethics or no value system that we unify under. Because even though we're pretty much blanketed under the lost value system, it's lost. It's a lost system. So therefore it operates backwards, and therefore it doesn't serve us positively. And then if we shrink that concept down and focus it on women and feminism and how that has affected women, it's the same effect. Getting women to work against themselves and destroy themselves without realizing that they're doing it, because it feels good. It doesn't feel like destruction. It doesn't feel like doom. It doesn't feel wrong. So to get us to operate, that's actually another fail-safe of the lost value system, to tie itself to your emotional state rather than thinking and logic. Because it's lost, it's chaotic. So chaos attaches more to the emotional states than it does to logic and reason. That's why it don't take much to rile Black people up. You can rile us up under an emotional state. That's why a lot of our movements and stuff don't last, or they don't last long enough to produce the outcome we want it to. Because we move when we're emotional and we stand still when we're not. Once you are in an emotional state or you're consumed with the emotion of a thing, you don't actually get to the logic, the reason, the brass tacks, the facts of a thing, so that you can think about it rather than feel about it, because feelings go away, right? The feeling of injustice when Trayvon Martin was shot was fleeting. The feeling of injustice when we see an injustice going on that we're collectively involved in, we'll get emotional about it, and then we'll say something about it. We'll march, we will, we'll speak out loud, we'll do all of that. But then the action behind it won't come because we get stuck in the emotional part of it. And then we don't move into how to think about this issue rather than how to feel about this issue. We think when we start thinking about an issue that we no longer feel bad about it, and that's not true. That's another lost value system fail safe. I might make a list of fail safes. Things that keep us locked in to the lost value system to where we won't move forward or out of it completely. And I told y'all, truth removes you. That's the exit out of the lost value system, is a truth. Because you not only feel truth, you think it. So I'm gonna have to write down the fail safes of the lost value system. Things that keep us involved. We are distracted easily from important matters. We have a problem with balance. That's yet another well, I'm on a roll. That's yet another fail safe. No balance. There's no balance. We're either all the way here or all the way here. We're never level in the middle. We either all the way up or we all the way down. We all the way right or we all the way left. We all the way, and we don't have, we're and I've said this before, we're too dichotomous in our thinking. It's too black and white. It's too here or there. It's too yes or no. It's too up or down. It's too left and right. We never say we can be balanced. We don't even believe two things can be true at once. You don't even believe that. We don't think that two things that seem to be opposing ideas actually can exist at the same time. We think everything is mutually exclusive. It's not. So emotionalism, being caught in emotionalism, emotional reaction. See, when you're emotional, you react. When you think, you respond. I'm on a whole roll. I'm on a roll. You become reactionary when you're emotional. That's why we're so easy to pin down. We're very easy to pin down. We're easy to predict. This is actually what makes us easy to manipulate through bioculturons. We're easy to manipulate through them. And this is why they always start with the environment first. Then they move to the biology. I did a little bit, not much, a little bit on what's happening in St. George, Louisiana. It is a bioculture run. I'm gonna have to read more on it. It's been hectic these last few days, so I have not had an opportunity to really look into the details. But then white people like, They always start with the environment, the law of the land, the legalities, the statutes. They always start that way. That's pretty much, from what I'm understanding, is similar to what happened in Gary, Indiana, and why Merrillville exists. White people took their ball and bat and went home. They didn't want to be part of Gary anymore because it was becoming too predominantly black. And they're like, oh, no. And they left. They left Gary to rot. And they actually established Merrillville and, all the other little townships, Valparaiso and Schererville and all of that. And those little townships are thriving. And Gary is not. Gary is dismal. So I have to dig more into, like I said, I don't really know the details. So that's all I'm going to say in reference. The only reason I brought St. George up is because the little that I did read about it, it is a bioculture event. And they always start with the environment. In this instance, a change of the environment, trying to change the actual environment. Let me go into a commercial break. So after these messages, we'll be right back. And I definitely need everybody to go to ashkicking.com because, like I said, hey, the spring is upon us. Summer is around the corner. It's starting to be consistently warm outside. So we're no longer hiding under winter coats and winter jackets and scarves and hats. So it's time to let that melanin pop. And the only way you're going to really be able to let it pop is if you go to ashkicking.com and get some of the best body butter on the market. Make sure that your skin is smooth and silky and smelling awesome. All right. This literally is some of the best body butter that I've ever had. Okay. Very creamy, very light, very easy to absorb into the skin. Okay. Doesn't have a super heavy fragrance for those of you who might be a bit sensitive to fragrances and so forth. I know some people skin is sensitive to fragrance. They do have unscented versions of their body butter that's just as wonderful as the scented versions. So it's got something for everyone. So if you're sensitive to fragrances, or if you aren't and you love a good fragrance, they've got so many different options from floral to a little bit fruity. So it's wonderful. So please go ahead and make your purchase. The link is at the top of the chat. And if this is going to be your first purchase, then take advantage of the 10% discount using the promo code Crimson at checkout. Once again, that's ashkicking.com. So I don't know how many likes I need, but I owe a bam, 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 bam. You got to hit the like button. Bam, bam. You got to, So go ahead and hit the like button for me. Thank you, Miss Beth Shore. And not only do they slander lionesses, but also lions, calling them lazy, entitled, and of the patriarchy because we choose to submit, support, and tend to them. And once again, thank you, sister. When I tell them that pick me is a compliment, it's usually crickets. I love it. Exactly. It's definitely a compliment. No, I haven't been keeping up with it. I haven't even been keeping up if Pink Book has been doing anything lately on her. She's a train wreck. The last thing that I heard is that they were getting her up out of there. So her having a trustee meeting, was she involved or was it just the trustees? I have to take a look at that because she's actually disgusting to me. So I don't really look her up. Thank you so much. Real Books said, please listen to a recent Tide Pods radio ad. Lady tells Black Lady other detergents are 70% water. She jumps on a megaphone. Okay. So if we go back to this,
I pray for a generation of women who are so comfortable with who they are, who know how valuable and powerful they are outside of marriage, so much so that they're actually okay with being alone.
Okay. So let's deal with that part. Let's deal with that part. Women do have that. See, I don't like the conflating of the two different values. There are two different values. There's the value you have as a human being, and then there's a value you have as a woman. Okay? And what they like to do is conflate the two differences. They like to conflate a woman's human value, her value as a human being, with her value as a woman, and saying that if she doesn't fulfill her value as a woman, then why should that mean that she doesn't have value? Nobody's saying that you don't have value as a human being if you don't get married, or if you don't have children. Your human value, the value of your human life, doesn't go anywhere. You're still a valuable human. The only thing that deteriorates the value of your human life is if you behave like a monster and an animal. If you behave like a monster and an animal, then your human life becomes, your human value decreases. But if you're not becoming a monster or an animal, then your human value doesn't decrease. It's just your human value. Like I would treat like you know what I mean? Like even if it's a woman that I know is a hyena, I'm not going to treat her less than a human being. Now I'm just not going to deal with her for other purposes and in other circumstances, but I'm not going to disregard her humanity. She doesn't lose her humanity. She's acting a fool. But we're not talking about whether or not you maintain your humanity. We're talking about the purpose of your womanhood. That's different. Because there are men who never gonna build nothing. There are men who aren't gonna be a father. He's not gonna be a husband. He's not even gonna really be a leader nowhere. He's not really gonna be creating no systems, order, and structures nowhere. He's not gonna be guiding nobody nowhere. But he doesn't lose his humanity. Now he may or may not really be operating in his manhood, but he doesn't lose his humanity. So we're not talking about whether or not you have human value, idiot. We're talking about what is your womanly value in terms of whether or not you can fulfill your femininity requirements. Because just like men have measuring sticks on whether they are successful as men, whether they are operating in their manhood, whether or not they are operating in their masculinity, whether or not they are successful in life. Like men have a scale that they judge this stuff on. And if they are not doing it, then they rank each other. They rank themselves. And you'll hear men call, hey man, you know what I'm saying? You're not really behaving like a real man. And really it's only the men that get to determine what's a real man. So you'll have men that tell another man, hey man, you're not really operating right. Because this is what men supposed to do. This is what men do. You're not doing that. You way in left field. What are you doing? You acting like a woman. And what women like to do is remove any kind of measuring stick that measures womanhood by taking away the idea of what determines good womanhood versus bad womanhood, what determines whether you operating in your womanhood or not, or whether you're operating well in your womanhood. This is why they don't want to compete with other women. They don't want to be compared to other groups and demographics of women. They don't want to be compared. I'm not competing against these other women. Unfortunately, you are, whether you want to do that or not. Because when we get to talking about what other women do, how other women view themselves as women, how other women view families, how other women view husbands and relationships and things of that nature, how they view motherhood and all of that type of stuff, a lot of times Black women fall short. And they don't like to acknowledge that. Well, I don't know why you comparing us to other women the same way you try to compare Black men to other men, as they should be compared to other men. They're men. They gonna do it to themselves, whether you do it or not. But we don't like the microscope to be focused the other way. What are the women's standards of womanhood? And that was the thing that feminism did, and it was one of the worst things. It removed the standard of womanhood. Now there's no standard of what being a good woman is, or what operating in your womanhood and your femininity actually is. Somehow that doesn't exist. The problem is that it's not society that first determined what the standard was. It's actually God. And that doesn't go anywhere. Because the purpose of women is men, and not just because I say so. Not just because you heard Kevin Samuel say it. I said it to him years ago, before he blew up. I told him that. I said, you know, the purpose of women is men, right? He was like, oh. Because the truth of it is so simple. Because what do women do that's not predicated on men? Nothing. We're the complementary gender. We're the complementary energy. That purpose, like I said, the purpose of women is men, not because I say so. Your Lord and Savior that you claim to worship said that. That's why they be trying to change the spelling of the word woman. Woman. From or of a man. They be trying to change the wording and all that kind of stuff. Try to change your purpose, but you can't change your purpose. The gag is that there's no shame in the purpose. So, and this is why I don't like the slander of lionesses, because why should there be a shame attached to doing what you were supposed to do? Since when do we shame somebody for doing what they're supposed to do? Oh, baby. I still got the fan. Still a boop somebody with this fan. It's been a little minute, but that's all right. It's here. At the ready. It's at the ready, OZ. Okay. The purpose does not change, and there's no shame in the purpose. I'm gonna sell them too. I'm just slow to get on some of this stuff. Some things are a little bit overwhelming, but there shall be merch. Soon as I can find manufacturers and stuff, because I need it to be automated. But yeah, I ain't forgot about none of the stuff I said I was gonna do. I have not forgotten about any of it. Trust and believe. Takes me a little while to get stuff going sometimes. Since when do we shame purpose? Usually we shame people for not doing their purpose. That's why women like to shame men for this drizzle stuff. The reason why it strikes such a chord, the reason why it does that is because we've never shamed men for doing what they was supposed to do as a human society. We praise men for doing what they're supposed to do as a collective of people, of humans all across the world, I mean. And anytime men don't behave in the standard of what men said manhood was and operating on a purpose, that's when men encounter shame, not only from women, but from other men. Other men will shame them. Like, oh, you're not, you know what I'm saying, operating like a man. So therefore, you actually become less of a man in terms of men, in the world of men. That's why drizzle is irritating, right? Because since when in the history of manhood and mandom have men wanted women to actually take their place? They don't. Men do not want women to take the place of men. You don't know how to do that anyway. Okay, you're not capable of that anyway. So it's really meant as an irritant anyways. It's meant to be something to irritate you. But that's why it's like, ugh, you want women to do what? Because that would be effectively operating outside of the purpose of men. Because when I talk about 4Ps, I'm not just saying 4Ps. I'm saying that's the essence of male nature. It's his nature to provide things. Okay? It's his nature to provide stability in his ideas, supplies, food, finances, clothing, housing, to provide. It's in his nature to do that. It's in his nature to start problem solving. It's in his nature to start protecting himself, his environment, his the things that he owns and the people under his charge. That's in his nature to do that. It's in his nature to want to procreate, right? That's in his nature. That's not something outside of his nature. That's his nature to want to do that. So anytime you got men irritating you by saying they're not going to fulfill their nature, you're the one that don't want to fulfill your nature. Women, you don't like your nature. You don't want to do what's in your nature. You've allowed feminism to delude you into thinking that things that women have been known to do for eons across every civilization, that all of a sudden these things are not necessary and they've been detrimental to women. Like, come on. You want to be men so bad. You want to be men so bad. You don't want to be men. You don't want to be men. You just want to have what you think is the freedom of men. But his authority is also his confinement. Y'all don't understand that about men. His authority, the things that he's gifted with in his nature, his ability to create systems, his pragmatism, his ability to think through and rationalize and reason out and analyze something without a lot of emotional input is something that he battles. He has created men have created beautiful things. Men create systems, yes? Men create systems, orders, and structures. Men do that. Women do not do that. Men do that. And men have created some of the most beautiful systems in the world, from infrastructures to artistry. He's also created some of the worst systems of oppression in the world. Do you want to be a man or not? Because that's his battle. You want his battle. Your battle is enough. You can't even take his battle. You can't survive his battle. Men have to battle not trying to ascend to godhood. And we got a battle not giving ourselves over to complete chaos. They have to battle. You're not God, bro. You're not God. I know he gave you the ability to create systems and things of that nature. It's beautiful. He gave you some of the abilities of procreation. He gave you that. It's beautiful. It's also deadly. Can be. It's got to balance it. That's why spirituality is so important for men, so that they don't try to ascend to godhood. You can't do it. That's why it's so important for him to understand there is a God. There is a being that has more authority than him, both in the world and outside of it, because he gave man authority. Rarely can you drink from the cup of power and not become drunk. It's a reason. It's a reason that godliness is important. So which of these systems do women want to be responsible for? Because it seems like you only want the good ones. You only want the systems of infrastructure. You only want systems when men create systems of art. You only want it when he creates systems that benefit the rest of civilization. You only want to have credit for that. But you don't want to have credit for all the other different systems that other men have created over human the existence of humankind. Stop trying to be men. Stop that. You're not a man. Be glad you're not a man. Be happy with that. Just like they be happy they not women and have to go through stuff women go through. I heard many a men say, "Oh, I'm glad I ain't y'all." For all the stuff that they say, "Y'all have women got it easy and y'all just get taken care of." They do not wish for that position. They're not stupid enough to wish for the position. Because along with being taken care of and having some measure of ease comes the stipulation of having to be submissive and second in command. Second, not necessarily in control. Having to submit yourself under a system or a person. They understand that ease comes with something else that they don't want. And y'all are too dense to understand that his freedom and authority comes with something else you don't want. The struggle and the toil that coexists with the responsibility. This is why y'all like the concept of leadership, but you don't like the concept of accountability. And this is what the men are saying. Stop trying to be men. Because you get the praise when stuff go good, and then you get the blame when it don't. Just like I just did. Men have created beautiful systems of infrastructure. They also, men are also responsible for the transatlantic slave trade system. You understand? So it comes with a responsibility. That leadership, that authority comes with accountability. It comes with the responsibility that it's got to succeed, and then it's got to be beneficial, and it's got to be positive. Because if it's not, you understand? If it doesn't do that, it's going to be a problem for everybody, not just him. And you can take that from the microcosm of the family man that's a leader of his home. If he starts making all the wrong decisions and none of the decisions pan out, none of the outcomes are good, all the outcomes are bad, he's going to have to take accountability and responsibility for that stuff. He's not going to be able to shift the blame nowhere else. It's got to rest squarely on his shoulder. That's where phrases come from, like heavy is the head that wears the crown and stuff like that. It comes from we got the freedom to move around. We got more mobility. We got more authority, but we also got more responsibility and more pressure on that. It's not free. There's a cost to it. Do we understand what I'm talking about? Like, ladies, stop trying to be men. Really rest in your femininity. Like, do it for real. Be grateful that you don't have to do the stuff men do. And be responsible to the degree that men are responsible. Because you can't even take that. You don't know what to do with that. Women already don't like accountability to begin with. To have to stand somewhere and be told this is all your fault. And gotta stand under that. No, it's really all your fault. No, for real. It's 100% like it's you. Because you was the leader, right? So we don't get to shift the blame to the subordinates. Was they following your orders or no? So when a football team has a losing season, yeah, we might get rid of some of the players. We're going to look at the players individually to see that they weren't playing well, but we also got to now look at the coaching staff. What was y'all doing? Because evidently they weren't coached good. How you going to have a whole losing season? How many games you lose? Oh, no. And see, this play went bad, that play went bad, that decision wasn't good. Remember when you said do that and that didn't work? So the coach now don't get fired. Let him have another losing season, see on his job be on the line. If he's a tenured coach, he might get another season to see. If he a new coach, he out of there. He got to get called into the general manager's office. We going over each game. Now, whose decision was it to do that play? Whose decision was it to do this play? Who substituted him? Wait a minute, who signed him? Now we got to look, is it a bunch of bad signings? Now we got to go above the coach. Now we got to look at the general manager. He the one signing players and coaches. He hiring folks. So did you even hire the right people to do the job? Let's look at that. Let it keep on losing. The only time, when a general manager start getting looked at is no matter how many players get swapped out and coaches get swapped out, they still lose. Now we got to look at you. You don't know how to scout and pick nobody. Get out of here. You're giving bad contracts, too much money to this player, not enough money to that player. You let one of our best players hit free agency. You know that, right? Remember that? Now we got to go from top to bottom. We got to hire another GM, know what he's doing. Then he got to hire a coaching staff. And then they got to come together and scout folks for this next draft coming up now, because we need a running back, we need safeties, we need defensive ends, we need everybody. You ever seen a team rebuild? That's because responsibility come with authority and leadership. And women, y'all don't seem to understand that there's an accountability and a responsibility to authorities and leadership. Yes, men have more mobility in society. Yes, they have a greater scope of actions that they can take with seemingly without a lot of consequence to it. Stop trying to be men. Be a woman. And understand that the easier hand has been given to you. We get to get taken care of by men all our life. We either taken care of through them one-to-one personally, or we're getting taken care of through the systems that men create. You can walk around in the United States in some areas without real fear of being accosted and things like that because of the systems that men created. When the systems work well, it helps you. You have some ease. Women have, we get taken care of, but it come with something. Just like his authority come with responsibility and accountability, our being taken care of comes with submission. That's the cost of it. Y'all want to be taken care of without paying the cost. Y'all want something for free, and it don't work like that. The world don't work like that. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. You got to give something to get something. And you understand that in every area but marriages, for whatever reason. I want my husband to take care of me. I want him to take care of me financially. I want him to take care of me physically. I want him to take care of me emotionally. I have to give him something for that. There's a cost to it. There's a cost. Want to be taken care of? Want to be loved on? Want your man to poo-poo and tutu? You want him to consider things that you say and consider how his decisions affect you and things of that nature. He don't want to do you wrong. You want to try to do right by you. You want that? You want that? You got to give him something. And not your coochie. Not just your coochie. You do have to give that. But I'm saying that can't be the only thing that you give, because you give that to everybody. You're going to have to give him your submission. You're going to have to dip your head for the plate of food and the rent paid and the lights paid. Okay? And y'all don't want to do that. So now you see what it is now. Now y'all telling each other to just be okay being by yourself. Well, you're going to have to tell each other something, because since you lying to each other about what your purpose is, now you're going to have to deal with existing outside of your purpose. Now you understand what it is to operate outside your purpose. You've been purposely operating outside of your intended uses. Ain't no man gonna tell you nothing. Ain't no man gonna do nothing. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. You don't want to pay the price. You go in the store and you don't want to pay for the stuff in the store. You can't have the stuff in the store. And if you leave the store with it anyway, it's called theft. You have to pay for the things that you want. And payment is not always money. Like I said, you gotta give your husband something. You want to take care of you, you don't just get that for nothing. What if the woman is taking care more of the financials and the man is supposed to take care of it? How can you submit if a woman has to take care of it? How can you balance that? Well, the first thing is that we got to stop attaching authority to money. That's the first thing you got to do. Stop attaching authority to money. More money does not mean more authority. Men do not have the authority that they have only because of money. That's not the only reason that they have it. It's only a part of it. English interpretation of the Quran says that men are the maintainers and the providers for women. No, maintainers and protectors of women, because of two reasons. That one, he's given one authority over the other. That's number one reason. That Allah has given one authority over the other. And number two, he spends of his wealth to maintain her. So your money has something to do with it. It's not nothing, But it's also not all of it. Because the first thing is that he has authority. That alone, just because you might have spend more money at a certain particular point in your relationship, the authority does not transfer. Especially if he's coming with all the other stuff men come with. If his structure is still sound, his system, order, and structure is still sound, his leadership is still sound, his protection is still sound, his problem solving is still sound, his money is not but a fourth of what he's doing in that marriage. And we trip ourselves up by attaching the authority to the money and his value as a husband only to his money and not the rest of him as a husband. He's doing more than paying. He's doing more than paying. He's doing other things also. So if this is her husband we're talking about, there is no release of submission. She's not released from the obligation to submit. Because if she has to be released from the obligation of submission, then he's now released of his obligation towards her. In other words, he's allowed to uncover her if she gonna uncover herself. So his covering is more than his money, right? It's a part of it, but it's not all of it. Because what happens if he gets sick and he can't do it for a while? Let's just say a husband falls ill and he's unable to bring the money in and work the way that he was before. His authority doesn't go anywhere. Let's just say it, like I said, it's a temporary situation. For a couple of months, she got to take up the bills. Women want to work anyway. In this climate, in this day and age, they want to work anyway. So she should have some money, right? So let's just say for 2 or 3 months, he's put on his butt. He's got to recuperate from some injury or something. He has to take off from work. Not able to get the income that he was getting in before. And he says to her, babe, you got to take it. I know it's difficult. I'm sorry that, you have to take on this responsibility, but it's going to be temporary. And as soon as I'm able to get back up on my feet, and I'll take it right back over. Like, I'm not going to make you just do this. And she thinks, and if that happens, and then she thinks that she now has more authority than him in that household and in that relationship, that's problematic on her part. See what I'm saying? That's problematic on her part. Because if she thinks that the authority goes away with the money, then how much respect did she have for the man himself? Now we got to think about that. How much respect did she have for the man himself? Because I promise you, when a woman respects a man, I promise you, when she love and respect and admire that man, she don't mind picking up. She don't mind picking up the slack. She will carry it because she love that man. She love that man. You understand that? And she gonna carry it long as she can. See what I'm saying? I seen my baby in here, but I was giving a lecture. But hey, sweetheart. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get off of here, but let's see. Thank you, James, for your super sticker. I appreciate you. Mark Fuller as well. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, O to the Z. Thank you so much. I appreciate your contribution. Thank you so much, Devon, for your super sticker. Thank you, Jack. Said, did she say beloved? Yeah, I don't know. Did I say beloved? I don't know. And thank you so much, Bethstra says we also in a time we can work remotely, so we can support the household without leaving the house. And that's another point. Thank you, sis. That's another point too. Women be when men need financial help, that the women gotta go out and they gotta till the land with their hands, and they gotta carry bales of hay to the horses. And then they gotta pick up the logs and build the cabin. And then they gotta dig the ditch because, if they don't dig the ditch, they're not gonna be able to have water for the day. I mean, you literally doing work from the computer that you stay glued to anyway. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. You ain't outside building no shed. Shut up. You act like somebody told you to go out, in the blistering cold or in the desert heat to irrigate the land. Like, you ain't doing that. What is you saying? You literally on the phone with people all day doing a little customer service, or you're doing data stuff, you filling out forms. You're doing something at the computer. You somewhere twiddling your toe, drinking coffee at the computer. Shut up. In the comfort of your home, most often than not. The worst thing you looking forward to is a commute you don't want to do if you happen to have to leave the house. Shut up. They'll be acting like they gotta go out there and, carry the thing on their head and walk many moons in order to get the, Stop acting like you gotta go out there and shear the sheep and then put it on the loom. And then, you're out there tanning leather. Like, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Thank you, Black by Disaster. And backfeed steaks was good today. Good and tender. Thank you so much. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead on. Oh, my goodness. Listen, join the channel. We got a lot of members. Let me double check. How many members do we have? I'm going to double check because, listen, I'm trying to get to 1,000 members. That's what? Less than 1%? That's less than 1% of my subscribership. And my subscribership is organic. I don't pay for bots and stuff like that. So getting less than 1% of my subscribership to do the memberships should be golden. We are at almost 200 members. All right. So we doing our thing, but I think we can do more because the membership content is going to keep coming. and it's going to get better and better over time as well. So don't forget to hit the join link. I don't think you can do it on the app, but somebody put the membership link in the chat. You can hit it from there. I've got 2 levels. The first level is just for general support. The second level, though, is where you get access to the videos. And once we get to 1,000 members, it's going to be membership live only. Okay, lives only for the members. So I'm going to start doing my live streams for the members. So we definitely trying to get to that point, but make sure that you join the channel. All right, because we got all kinds of wonderful stuff in store. All right, so jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host, is the Crimson Cure. This was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.